Welcome everyone. I just want to tell you that we're going to start in 3 minutes. So get your best seat and then we're gonna start the events. Thank you.
Get nervous more than me.
All right. Thank you so much for waiting. All right, can I get one more applause, everyone? Okay, I love it. You guys helping me so much. So, hello, selamat malam. And yeah, we're back. It's good to be back here. And finally, it's our Pecha Kucha. It's our 36th Pecha Kucha already. Can you believe that? Well, here we are. First of all, I just want to introduce myself for a bit. So, my name is Kashfi and I'm the organizer of this Pecha Kucha. Pecha Kucha is a Japanese word, actually, and it means chit chat. The format is 2020, 20 slides, 20 seconds. So, they don't have any control to the monitor. It's not easy to speak here, just to let you know. So that's why there's a lot of practice happening here. So, PechaKucha Night Ubud is brought to you by Hubud co-working space 6 years ago. It was Hubud's vision to create a platform for people to share their inspiring journey, knowledge, and stories to the public. We believe that everyone in Ubud has something amazing, like you guys. Thank you so much for coming. And it has been an honor for me to welcoming all these amazing people up on the stage presenting in 2020 format. All right, thank you. For those who have been on this stage knows how difficult it is to speak in only 6 minutes 40 seconds. Since, you know, most of us talk a lot, like, yeah. So it took a lot of practices, yes. Therefore, before we go on stage, I want us to give a big warm applause to our speakers tonight. Before they're getting on stage. So for tonight, we're going to have Helen Sim. All right. Najam Ul Azhar. So every time I speak one of the speaker, I want you guys to cheer, yeah? All right. Because I kind of see not balance right there from the first one to the second one. All right. The third one will be Carol Fev. Nice. That's the spirit. All right. The fourth one is Aurélie Salvaire. It's a French name, so I kind of like, you know, try to use the accent as well. The fifth one is Noel. And the last one is Eliza Arvin. All right, thank you so much. Did everyone already get a seat and ready to start? Yes? All right. So without further ado, let's get our first speaker tonight. So the first one is Helen. All right, so I'm gonna read you her bio before she goes on stage. So Helen is an executive life coach who loves empowering people to overcome fears. She is passionate about making the world less isolated and lonely through building authentic communities. She has helped Fortune 500 executives inspire and lead their teams, led workshops at Facebook on how to have authentic conversation and relationship, coach TEDx speakers, and previously taught entrepreneurship at Stanford University. Helen specialized in social psychology and interpersonal dynamic at Harvard College. So, without further ado, let's welcome Helen, everyone!
If you haven't gotten that welcome in the morning, I highly recommend it. Y'all are welcome to be my new alarm clock. All right, so let's get this party started. When I was 2 years old, my baby brother was just born. I know, so cute. My parents couldn't afford to raise us anymore, so we were sent away and we bounced around from home to home. And so since the age of 2, when I was about yay high, I learned to cook, I learned to clean, and I learned how to change my brother's diapers when I was barely out of my own. And when I was about 6 years old, I have this distinct memory of there being no food in the house. So I run around and scrounge around for change under the sofa cushions and the floorboards, and I grab my little brother's hand, and I rush into the supermarket, go into the bargain bin, and get this 50-cent can of Chef Boyardee ravioli. I'm super excited. But when we got back home, I realized, I'm 6 years old. I have no idea how to open a can. And just think about it. Do you know how hard it is to open a can if you have no idea what a can opener is? So I took it and I shook it a lot and I banged it on the table. But then I had the realization that we're not gonna eat that night. And I remember the look on my brother's face as he went hungry, and I thought to myself, I never want to feel this feeling again, especially this feeling of helplessness as I saw my brother go hungry. And so 6-year-old Helen closed her eyes and started dreaming and fantasizing about this life where there would be tables full of food. And because I'm 6 years old, this table is full of mozzarella sticks and pizza bagels, and all the ravioli I could ever eat. And in this dream, because I got this from TV, I have no other point of reference, I imagined this glamorous and fancy life where people would wear fancy clothing and be in fancy ball gowns, eating really fancy food. And that singular vision drove me to Harvard, because where else to be fancy? And when I got there, I realized, okay, I think I should be happy now, but something feels off. And so it feels like waiting in line for a very exclusive club only to get in and realize, is this what they were talking about? It doesn't feel like it. I think I should be feeling something different. So let me get in line for the VIP line instead. And what I realized was I kept trying to level up and level up. I got the fancy job, wining and dining the fancy men who were so wealthy who could afford small island nations and eating the fancy food that was so fancy that I couldn't even pronounce them. And I realized when I was sitting across the table from billionaire number one and eating $100 steaks and realizing, do you know how many cans of ravioli I could be buying with that piece of steak right there? I realized I was unhappy. And then the self-critical doubts started coming of, am I ungrateful? You know, I literally had the Cinderella story of rags to riches, and maybe I was spoiled. But I felt stuck, and I felt trapped because I had worked my entire life to get here. I'd fought tooth and nail to get up here, and I had this fear that struck me in the middle of the night of, what if I had it all wrong? And so I thought to myself, and what I realized, what kept me trapped, what kept me stuck, was this fear I've had since I was a little girl, which was I was afraid of being hungry again. And I was afraid of being that poor, helpless little girl again. And so one thing to know about me is when I'm afraid of something, I do something that, of course, is very natural. I run towards that fear. I was afraid of heights, so I decided to jump out of an airplane. And when I realized I was afraid of being helpless and poor again, that's the direction I ran in. In about the span of a month, I sold everything that I had. I quit my job. I left an incredibly cushy life in San Francisco, and I ended up living with 3 monks in Denmark, bathing in the ocean by day, and dumpster diving for food at night. I'm sure, hi Mom and Dad, I'm sure that my parents' worst nightmare was that I'd be broke, homeless, and eating garbage. And that's exactly where I was, broke, homeless, and eating garbage. And so when I'm knee-deep, this is a real photo from my first dumpster dive. When I was knee-deep in garbage, literally sitting there on the floor, trying to wipe goop away from bananas, I realized I had felt free, more free than I'd felt in years. And that's because when I'm sitting knee-deep in garbage, there's no pretense of status, wealth, sophistication, or anything or anyone that I should be or should be doing. And when I stripped myself of everything that reminded me of my old identity, I realized what actually mattered to me. I realized that when I have nothing, any addition to my life is that much sweeter. When I had an extra banana, it was delicious. It was the only thing I could think of. And when I made a new connection, it was that much sweeter. And when I realized, when I took away everything, the only thing that mattered to me was to love and be loved in return. And that's what was on the other side of fear for me. It was this. But I can tell you all of this, but life can't be told to you. This is why most of us don't ever listen to our parents. Life can't be told to you, it has to be experienced. So my question to you is, what's on the other side of fear for you? And what would you do if you weren't afraid? And I'm gonna wait for the robot overlords to go to the next slide. In this battle, I don't know if I win. So I'm gonna give you the next 10 seconds to think about, what are you afraid of? And who would you be without that fear? Thank you.
All right. All right. All right. So we're open for question and answer right now. Does anyone have question?
I love questions.
Shoot her a question.
Question. So I'll try to do the DR in my early life. I'll answer the first question, which is my brother is happily married, and he is the most courageous person I've ever met. He recently got back from Afghanistan. He served in the U.S. Army for 4 years as an Army medic. And I can tell you a little bit about the long road in a short amount of time, which was when I was young. I described it, and I don't know if you notice in the photos, in most photos I look really sad, and it's because I was. When I was younger, when I was 6 years old, for example, I would always think to myself, I would always compare, why is that her life and this is mine? I would be sad, but I didn't know how to feel sad. And I felt like I had nothing because I was terrified of people. I didn't have a family, and I was severely socially isolated and extremely socially anxious. So I would go months without talking to anybody, and I would think to myself, it doesn't seem fair. It doesn't seem fair. And because of that, I read like crazy. I read about 8 hours every single day from probably the ages of 6 to, I'll say 16, as I did a lot of reading. And when I was about 8 years old, I came across the quote, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." And up until that point, I wished, why won't anybody just talk to me? It would be so easy. And I hoped for other people to change the world into the way I wanted it to be. And when I read that quote, I decided, no, I know the world I want to see. And I realized at that point, no one else is going to do it for me. I have to do it myself. So that's when I think all of the excuses that are really easy for us to take, like someone else will take care of it, starting from the age of 8, if I wanted something to happen in the world, I did it. So if I wanted to study, I would walk an hour and a half to the library, read books, and then come back home. If I wanted to take a dance lesson, I got a job as a waitress at a sushi restaurant so that I could afford the dance lessons. I wasn't under the illusion that someone would do something for me. I decided to do it myself.
Second question? Ooh, so bright here. Okay, honey.
Hi. I was just wondering if you told anyone at all when you decided to change drastically your lifestyle, and did anyone pursue you to get that, or you just have the decision right away and then just do it?
No one encouraged me to do this. I still don't know if anybody would encourage me to do this. Once I decided, I just did it. Because I spent a lifetime knowing that if I wait and mull things over, fear creeps up. That's how it works. And I was one of the most fearful people I ever knew. I was afraid of every single little thing. And so when I knew that I felt stuck, and I knew what I needed to do, I did it automatically. And the thing about change is, change happens gradually for me, but it's very internal. And once I decide externally to go, it seems incredibly drastic to everybody around me. So when I decided to quit my job, leave San Francisco, and go to Denmark, for example, everybody around me was like, "You're insane, you're crazy." And I just went, I know, it's okay. And the same thing happened when I decided to move to Bali. And also, in the span of a month, I decided, hey, I'm going, see ya. It takes a while for everybody else around me to kind of come to terms with things, but for me, if I have a gut instinct, I'm just gonna do it, because for me, life is too short to constantly wait around to do something that I actually want to be doing, or to be giving myself permission to do something that I actually want to be doing.
Hashtag words. Oh, love it. The last question. Okay, what are you doing now and how do you spend your time now?
Baby, I'm living in Bali now. The real question is, I recently moved here, so I took the past month to settle in and live a life that's slower, which is incredible, and learn to be mindful, because I will admit that up until this point, I'm always thinking and always plotting and always trying to learn something, and I focus on my mind probably 99% of the time, and I don't take the chance to slow down and just appreciate the small things like drinking a coconut or admiring the gecko mating call that I've become very accustomed to since I've been here.
Is that, yeah? All right, yeah? All right, thank you so much, Helen. All right. So, yeah. Let's move on to the next one. So the next one we have Najam Ul Azhar. So I'm gonna read you a bio of him for a bit before he come on stage. So he is a performing arts manager by profession and social activist by passion. He is the founder and CEO of Free Arts, a fact-inspired, driven performing arts company. He sincerely believes in empowering the next generation of performing arts, and in return contribute to a formation of a more progressive, inclusive, and diverse society. He has organized several festivals, events, TEDx events, and connected deeply with the performing arts ecosystem of Southeast Asia. He is affiliated with TED, World Economic Forum's Changemaker Exchange, Re-Artists, and Fun. So, without further ado, let's welcome Najam, everyone.
Thanks for the fancy introduction, and we'll start. Okay, so I want you to imagine a country which has diverse civilizations. And I want to imagine a country which has diverse identities. A country home to Indus civilization, Gandhara civilization, then Mughal civilization, and a British era. A country which is diverse by its birth. But I also want you to imagine a country which is confused, or which has a lot of diversity in its culture, in its religious identity, and its political identity. Cultural identity comes from Hinduism, religious identity comes from Saudi and Iran, political identity was formed in present-day Bangladesh. Ta-da! I welcome you to Pakistan, a country which is so diverse that we are often confused who we are. We don't know where we belong culturally, religiously, and politically. But it does offer a lot of positivity and flavors. Our founding father, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, he didn't have a long beard, or he never wanted a religious country. He was thought of a very secular state where we could be progressive and promote our arts and culture. But he soon died after the partition. 1 year after the partition, he left us. But the country progressed. We had a free flow of alcohol. I mean, these are the images from 1960s. We had women without veil or burqa. We had women in sports, media, and film, which was what West is all about today. So, and we had a sense of expressing ourselves. Our movies were full of our cultural identity, which comes from South Asia. We were happy to have songs or festivals and events which would describe us as a very progressive and a forward-thinking country. And some of the leading artists, Noor Jahan, she's performed all over the world. And we had exotic covers on our newspapers. We had X-rated film in our country, which was perfectly fine. So, and we had Beatles coming to perform to Pakistan, and we had Queen Elizabeth came several times without any protocol. So the country was doing great. But then it stopped. A dictator comes into power and we are crippled the performing arts ecosystem. There's no free flow of expression. People are not supposed to do what they want to do. And the country was a stop. But if you know Pakistan, we are fighter. We like to fight. We don't want to lose our cultural identity. So a lot of men and especially women came out on the streets. They burned their dupattas. They don't want the country to force any Islamic laws. And we fought the dictator internally. And everybody opposed it because for us, our cultural identity matters a lot. But then the dictator is dead. He died. But then came the Russian-Afghanistan war. So it was not our war, but we were deeply affected. So we helped Afghanistan to beat Russia. We helped to create militias in Afghanistan so we could defeat Russia and go up. And the war is over. Russia's gone. And we have again, the entertainment is back. The country is still supporting musicians. Country is producing pop music. And everything seems to be okay. But only to realize that the war was over, but the disease was internal. And soon after, from one war to another, there comes 9/11. Now the US thinks that there are terrorists in Afghanistan and we need to fight a war. So from one war to another, our country goes into, again, Afghanistan to fight the terrorists. The same terrorists who were fighting against Russia need to be disarmed. But this time, the disease was not external. People mindset have changed so much that now they're on the streets to protect the extremist version of Islam. So, which is more challenging because if it's external, you can get rid of a dictator. But if their mindset is changed, you can't do much. So we came out on the streets again. This picture is right after a bomb attack in a shrine. People came out and started dancing again because we felt that we are a nation who's fighting, and for us, our cultural identity matters the most. So, for Pakistan, the music, arts, culture is more important than anything else. The only thing Coke did good in our country was music. They created Coke Studio, and it showed what Pakistan is all about. But also a lot of young artists and other artists started to come in to understand what we have to offer and why we have to do it. And then there I founded ReArts, which was founded on the principles to make a more tolerant and inclusive society, but also promote the young artists. Because if we have to continue as a nation, we have to empower the young performing artists. And it uses a platform much like Airbnb, where you can go online and book artists if you're looking for a guitar player or a band, etc. And the ideology of entire ReArts is just not another performing arts company. It has a dedicated mission to reclaim, reimagine, and rechange what we all believe in, and we want to change our country from the mindset to the top. But we also thought that, okay, it's great to empower young artists, but also what about the past, the old artists, the artists which is super developed or known all over the world. So we started working with them to build a narrative about the country. Wherever they go, they perform. They try to present a softer and a more tolerant version of the country, and which helped us to change the image of the country, just not in Pakistan, but also abroad. And then when you think about Pakistan, you think about, it's going to be classical music, Qawwalis, Sufism, etc. But our company is supporting young artists who want to become DJs or electronic music players, or also artists from rural areas. And I think I would like to close my speech with a beautiful quote from Fez. This is the hour of madness, this too the hour of chain and noose. You may hold the cage in your control, but you don't command. The bright season when a flower blooms in the garden. So what if we don't see it? For others after us will see the garden's brightness, will hear the nightingale sing. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. So actually, after hearing you talking about the stories, so I kind of like wondering what is the meaning of the last quotes that you're saying actually.
If you can just go back to one more slide, if it's possible. Yeah, so I mean, Fez, in 1977, when the dictator Zia came into power, a lot of artists started to write revolutionary poetry because they wanted to make people aware of what's going on and to claim their identity. This quote is one of the paragraph from his poetry about revolution. It means that it does not mean that the change will come today. You have to act for it. It may happen 10 years from now, 20 years from now, but whoever is coming after us or in the coming generation, if they are able to absorb this change and if they are able to take this change forward, I think our mission is done. So it's more about thinking about the present and be home and reflecting on its thoughts and working more about the future.
All right. Thank you so much. Anyone have a question? Yes? Just talk louder.
It's not really a question, but I just wanted to thank you for showing me a perspective on Pakistan that I've never had.
Of course, I also want to add on that, like I'm super amazed on how you do all these things. Because I didn't know about Pakistan before, and after you say it to me on the practice, I was like, well, that's my perception. It's like my mind blows. Any other question? Does anyone have question or? Yes?
Where do you see Pakistan in 20 years?
What do you see Pakistan in 20 years?
I think a lot is changing in terms of geopolitics for the country as well, because we recently are more inclined toward China as a big brother, I would say, than the US. So I think I would want to see a tolerant, progressive, and a secular Pakistan where there's flow of performing arts, people do whatever they want to do. And in South Asia, when you're born as a boy, you have two choices. Either you become a doctor or an engineer. So it's another story. I am an engineer by profession, but I went my way into performing arts. That's a story for a different day. But I think a lot of young people understand that world is global. Now everything is global scale. So whatever you put on Facebook or Twitter is seen by everybody all over the world. So for me, I want to see a Pakistan where there is more tolerance, a lot of people coming in, a lot of arts going out, a lot of cross-country collaborations and artists coming together. I would love to see more of international artists coming to Pakistan. We recently hosted Diplo, and I think more and more will be aware of what's going on in the country, and eventually it will open up.
Okay, one last question.
Does your current government support arts?
Does your current governor support arts?
Yeah, I think it's a very tricky question to ask because governments, they don't like people to be free, or they don't like people to have a sense of freedom. And arts has the power to make people free, and eventually you let go even of boundaries. I have a lot of friends in India. We don't get along really well on government levels, but we really get along as human level. So I think, but good thing is that now a lot of young people are coming and bringing technology solutions to address a lot of issues. When my company is being supported by the government of Punjab, which is the province I'm from, and they gave us the seed money to start the platform, they gave us the support to start the website and everything. So I think there's a lot of support coming from the government, but to a certain limit. Because for them, performing arts has just to be, you do a concert and that's all. But there's more to it. So I think, yeah, just to wrap, before you send me away, feel free to talk to me about Pakistan in general if you have any questions after this, and come up to me and I will be happy to tell you more about. And do visit. We are nice people.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, oh my God, we're already on the third speaker. So the third one, we're gonna have Carol Faith. So I'm gonna read you the bio. Carol Faith is a vision whisperer and merchant of knowledge and audacity. She still does not know what she wants to do when she grows up, But she has tried her hands at many things, from managing a supermarket in Lithuania at the collapse of the USSR to teaching tourism in the UK, drafting pro-poor marketing strategies for the UN in Timor-Leste, and even guiding food tours in Haiti. Besides helping entrepreneurs align their business with their heart, she is right in the middle of launching an online teaching and mentoring platform for women entrepreneurs. So, without further ado, let's welcome Carol!
Okay, you need to bear with me because I usually speak with my two hands, so this is going to be very restrictive for me. Okay. Yeah. So, I think that, bonjour, by the way. I think that everyone in this room would agree that if you had to describe me, you would use the words petite, slender, curvy, in all the right places, sexy, and hopefully sexy despite my age. I am everyone France on two legs. But what you see was created from scratch. I grew up horizontally. I did that in a country where it's such a stigma that books are written about it, where fat people hide because of fear of being judged, where your physical appearance is everything, even what's for your employability. My brother nicknamed me Miss Piggy, and my mother always told me off for being fat despite feeding me. So I always had the feeling that there was something wrong with me, that I could not be loved, that I could not be perfect, that I was just not good enough. But on the other hand, my friends were very supportive. They told me, Carol, you know, you're fat, but this is part of your personality. So I was thinking, okay, so if I lose my weight, there is nothing left of me. And it was strange because my friends could not see me. So I started to believe all these stories. I knew they were wrong. I wanted to belong to the club of the slim and intelligent people, but I couldn't get there. I felt that they have something that they didn't want to give me. This is me at 14, this is me at 16, this is me at 18, and finally this is me at 20. I own very few clothes, I have no style, there is not an ounce of femininity inside me. Men, don't look at me, I feel very lonely. So I put all my focus on creating Carol. I'm not a woman, I'm Carol. This is me in my late 20s. This is when I reach my fattest. I'm 65 kilos. I look like a midget version of a Bavarian beer waitress. But everything changes when I'm 29. I buy super cheap tickets to Costa Rica and I decide I want to be fit because I want to climb volcanoes. I also know as a French woman that if I don't sort myself out by the age of 30, I will age all wrinkled and go into oblivion. But what really changes me is when my friends, rich and beautiful, do not invite me at their wedding. I get so hurt that I cry for months and make up this crazy story that they don't want me there because I'm too fat, I'm too common, and I'm too ugly, and I will spoil the wedding pictures. So I start a 1-year diet supported by my Danish boyfriend. We change the way we eat, we go to the gym 3 times a week. We have this structure, almost military by design, but doing this together makes it a real success. I lose 14 kilos and immediately say goodbye to baggy clothes and bonjour to sexy lingerie. But I also say goodbye to the boyfriend. I change because I lose weight, but he doesn't change. He doesn't see the new me, and my body craves to be kissed, to be touched, and to be loved. But this doesn't last. I get myself into 2 more relationships, and the more I want of these men, the less they want me. They both leave me for another woman. They both break my heart, but the second one shatters it into so many pieces that I get destroyed completely. I become invisible to him, and I become invisible to myself. It feels like there is nothing to hang on to. So I let go of the old me. I watch myself in the mirror and see that my breasts have shrunk, and I was known all the time for being the woman with big tits. I let go of my identity and I start the Rebrand Carol project. I will be a sexier, fancier, classier, younger version of me. Because I feel that the only thing that I have to offer now is my body. I look at myself in the mirror and actually realize that this is all going to waste. My heart is broken. Sorry. And I can't. Sorry. As part of this journey, I discovered two things. I'm being given the worst news that you can give to a French person. I discovered that I am actually 65% British, so I'm not me after all. I also discovered that I am Miss Piggy. I am glamorously sporty. I am daring like Madonna. I dance like a wild woman. I travel feeling sexy. I speak at events, and I want a commit to love. Lesson number 1. You can shape yourself in being whomever you want, but it's hard. And you have to be responsible for your own successes as well as your failures. Lesson number 2. Ditch the diet. They don't work. Breakups are much more efficient. But lesson number 3. Behind the flesh, behind the body, there is a heart that is waiting to be seen, that is waiting to be loved. I am a vision whisperer, and I connect entrepreneurs to their heart. Knowing what you have in your heart is knowing you, and there is nothing more meaningful than that. Merci.
That's super amazing. Are you good? All right. Okay, now we're open for question. Does anyone have question? Okay, Melvin.
What's okay? That was an inspiring story. How would you define the relationship with your body?
Sorry. How would I go on? So that's your job.
Okay, sorry. So he's asking, how do you define your body?
How do you define your relationship with your body today?
Okay. Sorry. All right. Thank you, love. Okay, that's the question.
So I am increasingly in love with my body, but I have moments if I, for example, go somewhere and can't control the food that I eat. I'm very much in control of what I eat. I then have this feeling that I've gained weight, and the minute that I gained weight, then I just go back to seeing my 29-year-old me. So I see myself fat, and I don't think I will ever get rid of that story. But what I do is think, oh my God, Carol, you're a size 6. I mean, there was a time when I thought that size 6 people were completely nuts. And then I thought, you just can't be fat. So this is, you know, just get rid of that. This is just ridiculous. But yeah, we, you know, we see what we choose to see, and we see our past. And to see in the future requires a lot of courage. But the past, I believe, you always carry with yourself. But you can change. You can change that. You can change your relationship to your past, but you cannot change your past.
All right. Up there. Yeah.
Hey.
Okay, let me repeat the question. How do you connect people with their heart?
I've designed this 2-hour guided meditation process where I put entrepreneurs in a specific situation and I just go and dig. I'm a very good detective. I'm actually a dog with a bone. And I rarely let go until I get what I want. And I find that going into people's hearts is such a privilege that I don't want to fail them. Because when you are an outsider, you can see what people have in their heart, which they don't see themselves, because it's all hidden behind, you know, all the stories that we tell ourselves, that the meanings that we put to ourselves. So yeah, being able to do that is amazing, and to unleash that and to unravel that is, I would say, sorry, gentlemen, it kind of tops pretty much orgasm.
All right. Do we have one more question? Yes.
Carol, just dance connection to your heart, dancing.
Yeah. I mean, you've seen me shaking my little booty, but this is not me when I dance. When I dance, the sweat is pouring out of me. I am a wild African woman when I'm on that dance floor, and I love it. So yes, it really, really does. It helps me feeling so free. I forget everything, and yeah, and it's almost like I don't have to be me, and I'm connected to another me. Yeah.
Aw, that's nice.
Thank you, merci.
All right. Applause, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carol. So we already have 3 speakers coming in, but before that we have a commercial for a bit. So one of my colleagues, Melvom. So I would love to invite one of my colleagues to tell you a bit about something.
Your name is Melvin, but that's me. Good evening, everyone. So they volunteered me to tell you all about the amazing programs and things that we have at hubud. And the joke that I have is that I suspect them to hate and be mean with the French because they know we're going to win the World Cup.
Hey, what's that?
Thanks for laughing to my joke. So I'm going to start with hubud. Who has already checked out that amazing place? Can you please raise your hand? Wow, you're right, actually, we don't see anything. Okay, so a couple of you guys. Hubud is a co-working space, the first co-working space in Bali. It's been existing for 5 years. It has had 8,000, it has inspired 8,000 people from 80 countries. We organized lots of events. We had organized 430 events last year. That's correct, Ashley. Wow, this morning they told me 430. Anyways, lots of events. So events, as you can see, is the DNA of hubud. And so it's a magical place that inspires people to change how they work, live, and learn. And then, so if you haven't checked it yet, you should definitely go there and check it out. And if you scan the code at the reception, you can see the Facebook Messenger code. If you scan that, you can have 15% discounts on any membership. and I'm looking at Kashfi to just check that it's correct. All right, so that's for hubud. And then some of us cannot go all the way to hubud, or when you go to hubud, then you leave. And so we're thinking, what about how could we extend the impact that we can have on people outside the bamboo walls of hubud? So that's why we've been working on something called Hubud Global, which is basically a network of location-independent entrepreneurs and digital nomads. So it's a place where we can make friends, boost each other's businesses, grow, learn, ask tips, pretty much support one another, learn. It's something called Hubud Global. You can check it out at global.hubud.org. And then you can benefit from a 15 days free trial if you want to be part of that community of location-independent entrepreneurs. I don't see anyone with the light. That's kind of strange. And so the idea of Hubud Global is to kind of boost our businesses. But if you want to go faster than that, we launched something called Launch 30. So Launch 30 is a 30-day immersive program to take you from I've got an idea and I know what I want to do to a running business. And the reason why this program has been created is because when you want to reach a point where you're financially sustainable by creating a business, it takes a lot of time, it takes energy, stress, it takes struggle, and money. So the idea was to reduce that to only 1 month and turn the stress and struggle and money and time into fun and accountability and friends and less time and less money. So you can check it out. You can talk to Quintan or Maria or anyone from the team, I would say, if you're interested in knowing what Launch 30 is all about. I think I haven't forgotten anything. So without further ado, I give the mic back to Kashfi. Thank you.
All right. You know what, Melvin? You missed one thing. As always. So, guys, I just want to tell you that we're so excited that we are going to have a Hubud Open Day. So for some of you who haven't been to Hubud before and want to experience what Hubud looks like, joining the events at Hubud and see the community there, feel free to just come to this Hubud Open Day. So this Hubud Open Day, it will be happening this Thursday, starting at 9 in the morning until 6. So you can start working from Hubud and then just experience and meet the other co-workers right there. And of course, gonna meet all the teams here as well. Me, Fito, Maria, and everyone. So I would love to invite every one of you. So I would love to see you on Thursday. I would love to know everyone. So feel free, just come to Hubud and then we're gonna see each other. And I will let you know more about Hubud events if you're interested on that. All right, I guess we should move on now to the fourth speaker. Oops. Sorry. So the next one we have Aurelie Salve. Yeah? Applause. Are you guys sleepy already? Okay, I want everyone to cheer one more time. 1, 2, 3. Hashtag that's the spirit. All right, so before we start, I'm just gonna read her bio for a bit. So Aurélie is a French author and social entrepreneur, passionate about gender and narratives. She has been working for the past 10 years in the social innovation field, collaborating with Oxfam, Ashoka, Unreasonable Institute, and Impact Hub. From 2012 to 2015, she curated different TEDx events, and especially TEDx Barcelona Women, and coached dozens of international speakers. In 2012, she founded the A Factor, which has run storytelling workshop innovation tours and inspiring events in places as diverse as Beirut or Nairobi. So everyone, please welcome our rally.
Good evening. Yeah, let's go. Okay, so I'm a Libra. Any other Libras around here?
Yes!
Yeah? So we love balance, right? And for me, activism is all about balance and balancing the power, no? Between those who have and those who have not. And I really love this Angela Davis quote about changing the things we cannot actually accept. And our world today, even if we don't always realize it, it's still very much unbalanced. I think that Carol talked about the pressure that women still have a lot on their body, the fat shaming that is still very present, all the Harvey Weinstein story and the Me Too, the sexual abuse. I think we have a lot of imbalance still happening. We can see this in the House of Commons, for example, in the UK. And this is a campaign from LUK, photoshopping all the men out of the picture. And you'll see how many are actually left, leading us and running the countries and making the laws. Right? So we're not very many women on top deciding on our future. And this is the whole story. So I've got another question for you. Who self-identifies as a feminist? Would you mind raising your hand?
I do.
Okay, so half the room is sexist, right? Because feminism, the only thing that it means is that we believe that man, woman, or anybody of any gender has the same rights and the same opportunities. So that's what we want to promote and to explain in very simple ways. So we created a book that is called Balance the World. And the book is divided in 15 chapters because this unbalance is actually everywhere in our society. It goes from the way we educate our children, to the way we speak, to the leadership modes, to actually politics, to manhood, to different aspects of our lives. And we separate for each chapter in 3 parts. So we have the problem, so for people who say, well, I'm not sure, now it's kind of okay. So we made very simple and very beautifully designed infographics. We've got solutions that we gathered all around the world on how to accelerate gender equity, and then what you can do on a very concrete way, right? Because it seems such a big topic. And we classified everything by tactics, right? So if you have this power struggle, you want to use the tactic that is more relatable to you. Some will be very aggressive and some will be very consensual. So you can use the tactic that goes better with your environment and your personality. So I'm going to talk about a few tactics. One is naming, right? So name a phenomenon. So I guess most of you knows this about mansplaining, which means that a man explains to a woman something that she already knows in a very patronizing way. And now that has a name. And the fact that it has a name makes it something. So the other kind of tactic is new heroes. New heroes means that we create new people. This is, for example, for a cartoon coming as well from Pakistan, which is called Burqa Avenger. And Burqa Avenger is a superhero, which is a teacher during the day and a superhero during the night fighting for education rights. Visualize is a tactic to show you the reality. This is a startup from Mumbai, and which is showing which streets in Mumbai, but in many different cities, are named after a man or named after a woman. In Paris, only 2% of the streets are named after a woman. So this is also a way. Another tactic is reverse. Change the role, right? We see that a lot in the ads, or if you have Netflix, I don't know if you've seen I'm Not an Easy Man. If you haven't, watch it, it's really funny. But when you reverse the roles, you realize the incongruity of some of the rules that we follow. Humor is always very powerful, and there's this Facebook and Twitter account called The Man Who Has It All, which is actually as well switching the roles and showing how some of the cultural concepts we are quite ridiculous, but you see it as well way more with the reversion of the role. Another tactic is to unite. We talk about Iceland as a great country in terms of gender equity, but Icelandic women actually united in 74 and went down these streets on strike and paralyzed the countries, and that's how they got the rights they got. So how can we unite much better? And then the last tactic is occupy, something that I love to do in train stations or airports, to occupy men's toilets, because even if we use female toilets way more, we still have the same distribution. So even the way we design our buildings is still not taking our needs into account. So we wanted to gather all these different tactics and ideas and solutions in one book, which is available online for free, the digital version. You can go on our website, which is called shiftbalance.org, and you can download the version and share it with your friends. We did also a documentary when we were in Pakistan, because we really wanted to talk about not only the women but also the men. So we talked about the masculinity and the fact that we also need to switch the narrative about what it means to be a man today, right? And how patriarchy is also crushing the men. So we talked about this in many places around the country, and the conversations were really, really super interesting. So if you don't know what to do, you can have the men around you and the women as well watch this really beautiful TED Talk, which is called Why I'm Done Trying to Be Man Enough, from Justin Baldoni, and talking about the fact that we need to be more brave, to be vulnerable. And at least you can self-identify as a feminist. It's something very simple. Many people do it, like Justin Trudeau, Emma Watson, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and as she says, being a feminist is like being pregnant. Either you are or you're not. And that's very important, because actually, like Bell Hooks said, feminism is for everybody. And the idea is that if we all get free of the gender norms, we'll be more happy, more balanced, and we'll have peace. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, love. All right. Does anyone have a question?
How do you find, for those who are in a position of privilege, so we might think about that, somebody who has the upper hand and thus doesn't need to be worried about the cause of feminism, how do you find those people in a position of privilege respond to your ideas of feminism and to the concept of they can be part of that change as well, when they are in many ways benefiting and being in a position of privilege with the status quo as it is? How do you find they respond to your message, which I think is epic awesome?
So first, we need to make people realize they have privilege. And it's really difficult, to be honest. A lot of men don't want to acknowledge they have privilege. For me, I use the comparison with race a lot. I spent some time in Pakistan, and in Pakistan I'm white. I have privilege. So the question when I talk about this is, we don't want to accuse anybody. You have privilege, it's the way it is, and you didn't do anything for it or against it, that's okay. And the idea is not to have guilt as well. The idea is more to say, okay, how do you use this privilege to actually give voice to those who don't? But I also try with empathy, right? And try to make people of privilege be in the feet of people who don't have, because they've always been at one point or the other in the reverse situation. It could be in the playground where you have actually been bullied, right? And you were not the powerful boss that you are right now. So there's always been a situation where you've been excluded from the power. How did it feel at that moment? And how can you connect to that experience and see how it feels for other people right now? But it's tricky, I agree with you.
All right, next question. Wait, let me go to you guys.
To you ladies.
Yeah,
Hello.
language.
Hello, thank you so much. I absolutely love that and what you're doing. I'll definitely share what you're doing with my networks. And I love yeah, how you said about feminism. It's just everyone who believes in equality is feminist. I think Emma Watson said something like, if you believe in equality, you're feminist. Sorry to tell you. So I've just got a question. If you could give, every one of us tonight could go away and do something to foster more equality, what would you suggest? I know you say a lot of things in your book, but if there's just one thing we could all do, what do you think would make the most impact?
Language. When you address a group of people where there are not only guys, don't call them hey guys. Simple, right? Very simple things. Try to avoid certain verbs, certain words, certain insults, certain expressions that we all use. No, awesome, come on, be a man, don't be a pussy, grow some balls, etc. This is a very simple, cheap option that you can do. Then after, I think it's read about the subject, right? It's you can read about many authors that are very simple. I talked about Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. She's got a book called We Should All Be Feminists. We've got bell hooks. You've got very simple books. Watch shows. I was talking about I'm Not an Easy Man on Netflix. Watch it with other friends. Be more mindful about the books you read and the shows that you show to your kids, for example. Be more mindful about the toys you buy. Try to be a little more gender neutral about the toys you buy. Be more mindful about your own self-hatred towards your body, as we talked before, but as well about the perfectionism that we all have. Have sex. And be more mindful about balance. We know there's an orgasm gap as well, right? So in the bedroom as well, we tend to satisfy more male pleasure than female pleasure. So this is a very simple way as well to balance. There are so many ways of making a change. So yeah, these are a few advice.
All right. One last question, yeah?
Hi. Do you feel that uniting in political activism today is much less popular than what it was before? And if so, why is it like that, and how to change it?
Yeah. So it's tricky to say. To be honest, I don't think that we have the courage that the suffragettes once had. When I go to France, many women are very comfortable with the way it is right now, to be honest. So why it is? Because there is comfort in the situation right now. There's also a lack of talk about this. In the UK or the US, you have more studies about gender studies, etc. In many other countries, you don't. I think it's very deeply rooted, and it's. I do think that we all benefit from it so much. When we talk about this, people are like, no, but now it's okay. So what's happening is that before, sexism was in your face, and so much in your face that you couldn't really avoid it, and you were like, okay, we have to do something about this because I feel really excluded formally. Now it's very subtle, right? It's way more subtle and way more complicated to justify. So I think that makes it way more difficult to fight, and that's why now we have less people going in the streets about this, etc., etc. But that's also the interest of movements like Me Too, who are raising the awareness again on this. But I think it's, for me, it's really a message of love, to be honest. I know it makes a lot of people uncomfortable, but the idea is not to fight. The idea is that we'll all be way more happy if we get rid of all this pressure that we have, both men and women, to act in a certain way. So it's really about spreading this message as much as possible.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you so much, Aurelie. Give me a hug. All right. I'm a huggy people. All right. So, are you ready for the next speaker? All right, I'm gonna call another the next speaker. So it's a music group actually called No One. So Julia is a professional singer and dancer, and Alberto is a multi-instrumentalist started 15 years ago, working and experimenting in music, dance, and theater. They are now working together on the brand new project, No One, where music and dance are mixed together in order to write songs with a high, energetic, and emotive impact. Their different musical and artistic background represents the key to their sounds. They experiment a lot with the sound beside the instruments, usually making samples from natural sounds or objects to create something new. So, without further ado, again. So, let's welcome everyone, No One!
Hello. At the age of 15, when I really started to play drums, I told to myself, I want to be a musician. I started to work very hard. I practiced 6-8 hours per day, every day, including holiday. It was like obsession. But after years, I understood that was something wrong in my life. I worked very hard, but at the end, I wasn't satisfied. I started to be depressing, I started drinking, and my life feeling of fear and pain. But sometimes I think changed because one day when I was working very hard, I spent a lot of time working in the morning, working in the studio, and when I'm back home, I had no energy to live my life free and speak with her. And this felt me very, very sad.
I'm a dancer and singer, and me too work hard with dance. I wanted to be perfect. I wanted a perfect body, perfect mind, perfect thoughts, perfect relationships. And for me it was so difficult to accept that I'm not perfect and that I can just be loved also if I'm not perfect. I was scared about the reaction of the other, family, friends, in front of my decisions, and so I started to take decisions to make others happy. So for change this our situation, we need help, and we met people that help us to transform this kind of pain without judgment, to helping us to be free. And we started to listen our body and its symptoms in a totally different way. We started to meditate. We started to integrate that we can't and we mustn't change the others, controlling their reaction, just to take the responsibility of our life.
So last year, on the day of my birthday, we took a big decision to put us in a journey.
Yeah, and Bali came as like an intuition, and we just followed it. And when we arrived here, we discovered we are in the right place for us for now. And all things start to change. We restarted to communicate. We understood that we have to work on ourselves every day, and we created our project, Make Music Around the World. We will record 5 songs in 5 different places in the world.
And for support this project, we made a crowdfunding campaign that's still open. We made a video here in Ubud, and for me it wasn't easy because I was really scared about judgment, but I did. Now Make Music, it's so easy. Now we are totally connected with our emotion, and this is so great. For example, the first song that we wrote here in Bali came out in 10 minutes. Lyrics, harmony, melody. So
It's wonderful.
Wonderful, yeah, wonderful. And this happened because we had a possibility to free our mind from the fear and start to do what we love. Of course, we are so proud of this, and like Walt Disney said, if you can dream it, you can do it. This is powerful and inspired words that help us to eliminate the fear.
Yeah, a lot of people told us, oh, you are so courageous, guys. And we say thank you. But we want to share with you a reflection about courage. You need courage when you have fear. But when you have no fear, you don't need courage to do things. Because you just do it and things happen in a natural way. So now we want to play for you our song that was born in Bali. It is a preview, and this song called Learn to Fly, and this is our acoustic version, and sound like this.
There's the lyrics if you want singing.
With us. One-way ticket for other side of the world. I'm not fleeing, I don't wanna forget my past, just transform me to build my future. I become who I am, no filter, no mask, standing up on my feet, proud and blissful. People want to bring up the old me, cause they're still the old them. I fly in the purple space where thoughts burn. It's the space above the sky where eagles fly free. Let me go, this is my way. I become who I am, no filter, no mask, standing up on my feet, proud and blissful. People want to bring up the old me, cause they're still the old
All right. Thank you so much, guys. Oh my God. I'm super happy to discover you guys. Well, actually, one of my colleague, Julia, which is helping me to find you guys, and I'm super happy to have you to be speaking here at the Pecha Kucha. Give applause, everyone.
This is the Italian power. Italian power connection.
All right. Does anyone have question or suggestion or anything? Melvin, again.
I don't wanna. Maybe someone else has a question.
What are the other 4 places?
We don't know. Yeah, we arrived here in Bali in March, and we stayed for 2 months. After we had to leave the country and come back, and we stay for other 2 months. Maybe we repeat the same thing, and we are looking for another place, but we really want that the next place came us like Bali came us, because we didn't make a lot of reflection about Bali. Yes, just some information, but we follow our heart. And so maybe we want that happen the same things for the other 4 places. Yeah.
Just now, we have more organization that we started.
Yeah.
All right.
But if you have any suggestion.
Everywhere is good.
Yeah, Pakistan is beautiful. I've been, so it's great. You should all go. Hey, where do you guys meet?
In Ubud.
Now we'll read the country.
Sorry?
Country.
Italy. Yeah, we are from Italy and we meet in Italy.
And then after that, you guys start going around all together?
Not after, not in that time, but no, we started to travel just 5 months ago. Before we worked for other person, but just right now we do this project together. Yeah.
All right, that's super lovely. All right, can I take?
So I was wondering, is there by any chance like a message that you guys want to get across with your music, or is there a thing that's related to you guys want to travel to 5 countries? I was just wondering.
So if the message of the song?
No, not necessarily the song, the whole project. The project of
Yeah,
making
what
a
is
song.
our project?
Yeah, what is the message that you want to get
Okay,
across?
the message.
Now, what you did a Indiegogo, right? Or
sorry,
you did an Indiegogo project or crowdfunding?
Yeah, crowdfunding. Yeah, when we arrived here, we made a crowdfunding project because we haven't sponsor for now, and so we found that crowdfunding was a good idea to start. And a little bit after came in our mind this kind of 5 songs in 5 different places. Also because have the possibility to make an EP, a complete EP, and also because we want to know people that maybe can be interested in our music and also start to play in some local or for some concert. And so put us in a journey is to give us the possibility to do just this and nothing else, and to find the way to do really what we want and what we love. Yeah.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. Oh my God, we're in the last speaker already. Whoa. All right. So the last one we have Alisa Arvin. Let me write the bio for you. So she is a success coach, spiritual mentor, White House presidential journalist, international speaker, and feminist. She was the only journalist with under 4 years of experience to report and travel overseas as part of the White House press corps during the Obama administration, and is now dedicated to helping women and girls build unshakable confidence between the most powerful person they know and live a life they are in love and obsessed with. So, hello everyone. Now welcome Alisa.
How many of you have ever asked yourself, why am I here? What is my purpose? What am I meant to do in my life? Raise your hands. This was a question I often asked myself, and it started when I was 10 years old. Mark Twain said the 2 most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. Why was I born? Why am I here? What am I meant to do? That was one of the questions that came to me when my mother came into my room one day, gave me a kiss on my forehead and said, I'm leaving for a few days. I will be back. I love you so much. If you need anything, this is Kathy's number, call her. Little did I realize that was going to be the last day I ever saw her again. My father, stressed, scared, and not knowing what to do with me and my brothers, packed up all of our stuff in my house in Dallas, Texas, and flew me and my brothers to a cult in Bangkok, Thailand, where he left me, and I was engaged at the age of 12. At the age of 12, I was engaged to a man I didn't know. And I came home from school one day excited because my teachers had talked about all the different possibilities and things that we could do in our life. And I told my father that day, Daddy, I'm going to become a fashion designer. I'm going to become a journalist. I'm going to do great things. And my father looks at me and says, women don't need an education, because when women get an education, women run away. And he was talking about my mother, who had left him because she was very educated. A few years later, I was married, and often I found myself in this position, crying on the floor in my bedroom or in my bathroom as I locked myself, asking God, why am I here? What is my purpose? What am I meant to do? And I asked that question for years until I got this beautiful bundle of joy. I was pregnant after a year, and my son brought me that joy. He was one of the reasons why I found my purpose again. All of a sudden, there was meaning to life. And I was married for 12 years before I decided enough was enough. The only reason I lasted 12 years is because of this beautiful bundle of joy. And I thought I was doing him a service by staying in this marriage, in this abusive marriage that made me so unhappy. And in a span of 3 hours, I packed a few of our things, ran away, and never looked back. And I was so scared that I had so many locks on my bedroom door, I didn't know what to do. Until one day I looked at myself in the mirror, mascara running down my face, my son next to me, and I decided that I was going to make the rest of my life the best of my life. I said I was going to put my big girl pants on, and we were going to do this thing. And that day changed everything. The day I was determined to make the rest of my life the best of my life. I looked in the mirror, got into the power pose, and said, Elisa, you're the shit. You're the boss, bitch. You're gonna do this thing, and you're gonna make the rest of your life the best of your life. And so I got rid of all of our old stuff and flew me and my son yet again to, I'm sorry, it's going so fast. Flew me and my son yet again to New York City, where I graduated with a 4.0 GPA. And in less than a year, traveled with the White House press corps as part of the Obama administration. Woo! And every time I looked in the mirror and my inner critic would tell me, Elisa, you're meant for nothing, I would look in the mirror and be like, you're the boss, bitch. You're gonna make the rest of your life the best of your life, and you're gonna do this thing. And from that day onwards, I found my purpose and I found my passion. And my purpose was to serve women and girls, was to make sure that they lived their life the way they can. That women can have a voice, that women can be powerful, and women can do everything that they want to do. And so that is what I do now. I travel the world, I am a success coach, and I help women become the most powerful version of themselves. And so I want to tell you the things that have helped me along the way. And that is number one, listen to your heart. Your heart has the answers. Your heart will tell you what you are meant to do. Your heart will tell you this is not right for you or that is right for you. Your heart will tell you you are meant for greatness, and stop dulling your shine because someone else can't see it. Stop living a small, mediocre life because someone is scared. And be fearless. You have two choices in life. You can either choose to live in fear or you can choose to live in faith. And if I had chosen to live in faith, I would still be that girl on that bathroom floor, crying every day, asking God, why me? Instead, what I do now is I say, try me. You have something to say? Try me, because I am making the rest of my life the best of my life. And I am following my intuition. And I am helping people along the way. And that is my purpose. And the next thing I want to say is connect to yourself. Meditate, read, go in nature. Because when you connect to yourself, you give yourself voice. You're able to quiet yourself enough to listen to guidance, to listen to source, to understand what is the next right move. And this is a retreat that I recently hosted in Santa Barbara, California, where a bunch of women were transformed from who they thought they were into becoming the most powerful version of themselves. And it all starts with a mindset. And so I want to ask you, who are you choosing to be? Are you choosing to look at yourself as a pitiful person, or are you choosing to look at yourself as a powerful person? Because the world is your oyster. And any time that inner critic is loud telling you you are nothing, look at it and say, I'm the motherfucking boss, bitch, and I'm gonna do this thing.
Alright, thank you so much. Okay, let me get rid of this off first. No, get rid of her, of course. I just want to say, before we go to a question and answer, I just want to say a personal thank you for you. I'm super happy to find you, because somehow, how I find her to be a speaker today, so she came to Hubud, and she said that she wants to have an event, and I was like, yeah, we're open, and we always open to everyone who wants to have an event with us. And she told me about her stories and everything, and I was like, whoa, that's such a beautiful story. And I want everyone, all of you guys, to hear her stories as well. I hope that you love it. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Me.
All right. Let's go to the question. All right. Is anyone has question? Or something else?
So I am a success coach, and I have a 90-day program called Awaken the Priestess Within, where I help women through a bunch of different mindset techniques, intuitive readings, and healing energy. And in the 90 days, as we work together, is how we transform you. And it's not something that is instant. You know, repetition, repetition, repetition. The more you do something, the more you will change. And that is why when I work with someone, we talk to each other once a week so that I can create and curate a program specifically for you to help you become the most powerful version of yourself.
All right. Next one.
Thank you.
My question is that right now, from what you experience, that thing still happens across countries like India and lots of other countries as well. So how do you help that child? Because that child does not have that knowledge. She does not know what's good or bad lies ahead. So the only, I mean, personally, when I think about it, the only answer is education, the parents and culture. But since this culture is so deeply rooted within these countries' history, how do you go on to address and change that?
I believe that we can only do it with collaboration. There is no one person who can stop that, you know, because in countries like that, it does still happen. I still have family, my nieces are still in that cult, and I worry about them every day. And unfortunately, the only thing that we can do is keep trying, to keep putting our voices out there and to not be scared. Because a lot of times when we are silent for everybody else. And the moment that we step out and we start speaking is the only way that we can change the world.
All right. One more question. Sorry? What is the event that you want to host?
What is an event that I want to host? What is the event that I wanted to host at Hubud? It was a workshop for women on self-confidence, on stepping into your power, on building unshakable confidence. And I believe that even no matter where we are as women, we grew up as little girls being told that we cannot achieve everything, that there's only certain things we can do, or women have been told they're not beautiful enough, not perfect enough, and that is rooted in their self-esteem. They still hold that. A lot of women are still scared to go out there and demand for the same amount of pay. They're still scared to go out there and become the entrepreneurs, or go out there and feel like they deserve a healthy relationship. And so I believe that the more we do this and the more we collaborate as women or even as men, that is how we will change the world. That is how we will change people's mindsets. And so that was the kind of workshop that I wanted to host.
Everyone want that event? Can I hear one more time? Is anyone interested for this event? All right, we have the voice. Well, that's why I'm super happy to find you. You're such an inspiring person. And I love you so much. I hope everything's going to be good.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right.
I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much.
All right. We're already at the end of the night. So I just want to say thank you so much. Okay, sorry. So thank you so much, guys, for coming to Pecha Kucha today. I really appreciate it. And just to let you know that Pecha Kucha is happening every 3 months. So we're going to have the next Pecha Kucha around October. So if you are interested to be one of the speaker for the next one, which is for the 37 Pecha Kucha, you are more than welcome to just tap me in or just come to Hubud. I'll be available there most of the time. So feel free to tap me in. I mean, at Hubud we have a lot of events and you can participate in a lot of type of them. So maybe that's it. And yeah, thank you so much, guys. And yeah, one last thing. So I just want to tell you that that this event, the reason why we have this event, we also want you guys to connect with everyone. So I know that this event is already end right now, but since we're in Betelnut, they serve some drinks, they serve some food. So how about if we have some drinks all together and then just enjoy the night together, right? So yeah, I want you guys to get all together outside. We can hang out and chill for a bit, and all the speakers will be there. So if you have any other question that you want to ask or you're too shy before to ask them, feel free just to tap them in and then give the question. So one more time, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys at PechaKucha 37. Thank you. Woo. Arlie mana ya?